When you are working with a CEO, do you find that this woman or man may be focused on something that is about their position, their leadership qualities, of their responsibilities, and lo and behold, they all of a sudden they start trusting you, and they start talking about what's going on in their real life, which is maybe it's children, maybe it's the wife or the husband, or maybe it's even the mother, the father, but their personal life starts bleeding in, and you're able to sort of help in there, and then be able to bring them back where now they've got more focus. Is that kind of what the dance might be a little of?
Well, my very first client was a bond broker who managed $1.5 billion bond fund in Connecticut. That's where he lived. And so when I coached him, one of the things we worked on was improving the relationship that he had with his boss. Well, we worked on those skills for a while, and lo and behold, his relationship with his father, who almost never talked to him and who he never talked to hardly, bad relationship with his dad. All of a sudden, his relationship with his dad just blossomed overnight, almost automatically. It was stunning.
What's the psychology behind this one? I think we all need to hear this one, because I think it's an ABC thing with what's called the transfer from the father onto this other person in his life.
So when we go to work for somebody, what we do is we transfer all our authority issues.
Yeah.
Right? Mom and dad are the authority in our life until we hit, some sort of degree level and we start working. And then we transfer, when we leave their authority, we transfer all our giving away of our self-responsibility and our self-choice that winds up with authority issues. We give that to our employers. And until we work through those and reclaim and redefine ourselves from the inside out instead of from the outside in, they're going to have issues that we get to project on them. So when you're working on the relationship with your boss, what you're really doing is working in your relationship with yourself.
Yes.
And when you do that, that from the center out blossoms to touch everyone that's around you, and your relationships all around improve because your relationship with yourself improves. If you have a bad relationship, the first thing to look at is inside with your own relationship with yourself. A relationship skill that almost no one that I know of has ever been taught in any culture around the world is how to love ourselves. Now, you don't get CEOs to talk about that very much, but one of the creative things, so you've got The Secret and you've got other things that, listen to this for a while and you'll wind up with improved more in money and prosperity in your life.
You can manifest.
Manifest, right?
Yes.
So what I'm working on right now in the experiment I'm running right now is I walk about 3 miles a night, and what I do with every step is I say, yes to money, I love myself. And that's all I say for the hour that I walk.
Simple?
It's that simple. If I love myself enough to give myself, because if I'm, the creative force I am in the world, if I love myself enough to give myself the opportunity to earn more money or to create a business that makes more money, then I've reduced the limitations I have in myself, and my business grows, and my family gets more prosperous, and I have more delightful relationships.
With that one, I think you got everybody's attention. I thought, well, I think I might just do that myself. It's about 2 things. It's very easy.
I say yes to money, and I love myself. And the third thing is I'm getting good exercise.
I love the benefits on this one.
Yeah,
but
I
really do.
The other thing that's happening is you're actually moving. We're not aware of life as it flows through us. Life is an energy that flows through us. Eventually, they'll be able to measure on a meter the electron cloud that's around us and some of the deeper clouds that are around us that move through us that we call life. Life is an energy flow that flows through us. It's coupled to time. And when time passes through us, we're aware of the time movement. we're not aware of the life energy movement. So as we're walking or running and moving ourselves, what we're doing is we're passing energy through us. And if we're doing it consciously, we're also removing the blocks microscopically at a little each step. Each word, every movement moves energy through us. Well, what is money but energy? What is love but energy? And if we're saying yes to money, we're saying yes to ourselves. We're also saying,
choice.
I'm just a little bit more lovable to myself with every step I take.
You know, that had so many wonderful things in it. It felt like it was this layered thing, and you were moving pretty fast, and I was trying to keep up with some of the things that you were incorporating in there. And when you're talking about us walking down the road of life, and that we're moving so fast that we are not paying attention to some of the more beautiful, sensuous, feeling alive parts of being human.
Mm-hmm.
I had a client the other day, and she's very amusing, and she's brilliant, and the problem is that she's having some physical problems, and wonders why. And I said, well, you know, you're going 100 miles an hour. I said it, and because she'll not let me teach her, because she's talking constantly and talking very, very, very fast. Fast talkers have a tendency to just kind of throw me around because there's no listening and there's no learning. So someone very wise told me that, incidentally. So anyway, I said to her, you know, if you could just slow the train down just 50 miles an hour and then slow it down and breathe. And now let's try to slow it down to where it's only going 25 miles an hour. And I said, and you be quiet for a moment and just pretend that you're looking out the window of the train and start describing to me the landscape of somewhere really beautiful that you've always wanted to go. Well, I was, as an empath and an intuitive, I was watching the biochemistry shift. I was watching something going on in the nervous system. If it can be taught in the simplest language for people who are going that fast, which seems to be a high percentage in this society that's moved out of their body, not in it. So I feel like you're doing something that's very, very powerful, as I feel like I'm doing, and that's to move the subconscious mind and the superconscious subconscious mind into more of an accessible place to access the gifts that lie there. Because moving so fast, how can we be creative? How can we use our intuitive abilities, our artistic abilities? Most people who are artists that I see don't even know they're artists, and they don't have the time to explore it because they're too busy surviving and struggling in a struggle survival consciousness.
Sure.
So I just think that what you're doing in the executive world is something that, can you imagine how they could bring that home to their own family? How that's a trickle effect, and not only in their own companies, but how it changes their life and how they're dealing with their wife and their children and their own mother and their own father. So I think it's pretty big.
It's fun.
I'm pretty excited about what you're doing. Now, how does someone recognize when their intuition occurs in them?